On a global stage of politics, on August 15th in 2025, history was made in Alaska. US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin met face-to-face in one of the most dramatic diplomatic encounters of our time. Their goal? To find a path toward ending the Russia-Ukraine war. But was this meeting about real peace or just political theater? Let's break down the purpose, the objectives, and what the world can truly learn from the Alaska summit. Their chosen location is not a traditional European capital or a neutral Swiss city. Instead, they have convened in Anchorage, Alaska, USA. This meeting is more than just a handshake for the cameras. It represents a pivotal moment, a potential turning point in international relations. The world watches with a mixture of hope and apprehension. Will this summit forge new paths toward stability, or will it deepen the fault lines that already divide the global community? First, why Alaska? Out of all the places in the world, why did Trump and Putin choose to meet there? The answer lies in symbolism and strategy. Alaska was once Russian territory before it was sold to the United States in 1867. Today, it's the closest US state to Russia, just 55 miles away across the Bering Strait. It's also home to major US military bases and a growing hub for Arctic strategy. By meeting here, both leaders wanted to send a message. The US and Russia are neighbors, bound by history, geography, and power. And Alaska, sitting at the edge of the Arctic, represents the new frontier of global competition. The timing of this summit is crucial. It comes at a moment when the global order is in a state of flux. For Donald Trump, this meeting is an opportunity to reassert his unique brand of personal diplomacy on the world stage. He has long believed that direct, leader-to-leader conversations are more effective than relying on established diplomatic bureaucracies. For Vladimir Putin, it is a chance to affirm Russia's status as an indispensable global power, a nation that cannot be isolated or ignored. The entire world is holding its breath, waiting to see what agreements, if any, will emerge from the Alaskan wilderness. The official purpose of the summit was simple but ambitious: end the war in Ukraine. For Trump, this was about fulfilling his campaign promise. I alone can make a deal. He wanted to present himself as the global dealmaker who could stop the bloodshed. For Putin, the purpose was different. He didn't come to give away land or admit defeat. Instead, he came to gain legitimacy, showing the world that the US was willing to sit down with him despite his invasion. For him, Alaska wasn't about peace, it was about optics and power. Let's break down the objectives of both sides. Trump's objectives: showcase leadership on the global stage, push for a ceasefire, or at least appear to, position himself as the one man who could bring peace. Putin's objectives: gain recognition and legitimacy, test Western unity by negotiating directly with the US, push for a settlement where Russia keeps control over Donbas and Crimea. While Trump spoke about a peace agreement, Putin wanted a victory without calling it one. For Donald Trump, the Alaska summit is a prime opportunity to advance his core America First agenda through his preferred method of high-profile, personal diplomacy. This proximity is a powerful reminder that despite political differences, they are neighbors with shared interests in the Arctic region. He might see an opportunity to create a strategic alignment with Russia and to end the war with US proposed agreement. Vladimir Putin comes to the Alaska summit with a clear and consistent set of objectives and cementing Russia's position as a great global power. First and foremost, he seeks legitimacy and respect from the United States. For years, Russia has faced sanctions and political isolation from the West. A summit with an American leader on equal terms is, in itself, a major victory for Putin. Economically, Putin's goals are critically important for Russia's stability. The Russian economy is heavily dependent on the export of oil and natural gas. Protracted periods of low energy prices or Western sanctions can place significant strain on the national budget and the standard of living for Russian citizens. On the security front, Putin's primary concern is NATO expansion and the presence of Western military infrastructure near Russia's borders. He views this as a direct threat to Russia's national security. Finally, Putin aims to showcase his vision of a multipolar world where power is not concentrated solely in the hands of the United States. By engaging with Trump directly, he reinforces the idea that global issues cannot be solved without Moscow's involvement. The Alaska summit provides him with the perfect stage to project this image of a powerful, confident, and pragmatic leader who is ready to make deals, but only on his own terms. This historical meeting adds another layer of meaning to the summit. It is a reminder of a time when the two nations were able to negotiate and reach peaceful agreements for mutual benefit. By returning to this symbolic land, the leaders may be hoping to recapture some of that spirit of pragmatism and cooperation. The Alaska summit between Trump and Putin presents the world with the hope to end the war, with potential outcomes ranging from renewed cooperation to heightened global tensions. On the optimistic side, the meeting could lead to concrete agreements that enhance global stability. The two leaders might agree to restart strategic stability talks, laying the groundwork for a new arms control treaty. This would reduce the risk of a new war. Another positive outcome could be de-escalation of regional conflicts. Trump and Putin might manage competing interests in Syria or reduce tensions in other Eastern Europe. A simple agreement to increase military communication would be a major step forward. If they can demonstrate working together, it could create new diplomatic momentum. This could encourage more pragmatic diplomacy, focusing on shared interests, with ripple effects across the globe. But what actually happened in Alaska? The talks ended without a breakthrough. There was no signed deal, no official ceasefire. But symbolically, Putin walked away stronger. He got the image he wanted, standing on US soil, treated as an equal partner. Trump, on the other hand, got headlines and attention, but little substance. Analysts said it was more of a show than a solution. Trump might make concessions on NATO commitments or recognize Russian influence in Eastern Europe, deeply unsettling allies and fracturing the alliance. This could create a power vacuum in Europe, encouraging Russian assertiveness and leaving smaller nations vulnerable. The worst-case scenario is complete failure or misunderstanding leading to increased hostility. If the leaders fail to find common ground, the meeting ends in acrimony. This could reinforce hardline positions in Washington and Moscow, making future diplomacy more difficult. As the leaders depart from Anchorage and the world begins to dissect every word and gesture, the true meaning of the Alaska summit will only become clear over time. Now, the big question: what can the world learn from this summit? 3 key lessons stand out. Diplomacy without substance is dangerous. Peace talks without Ukraine at the table are meaningless. You cannot decide the fate of a nation without its voice. Optics matter, but they can mislead. Putin got legitimacy without compromise. The world must be careful not to confuse photo ops with real progress. The Arctic is the next battlefield. This summit was not just about Ukraine. It was also about resources, trade routes, and power in the melting Arctic. In short, the Alaska summit teaches us that peace requires more than handshakes. It requires hard compromises and true dialogue with all sides. The Trump-Putin Alaska summit will go down in history as an event of symbolism more than substance. It showed us the power of image, the complexity of global diplomacy, and the difficulty of ending a war that has shaken the entire world. Whether it was a step toward peace or just another chapter of political theater remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the world must demand real diplomacy, not just empty showmanship. The agreements and understandings reached in the isolated calm of Alaska must now survive the political pressures and geopolitical realities of Washington, Moscow, and a complex and often chaotic world. In the end, the Alaska Summit of 2025 will be remembered as a moment of high-stakes, personalized diplomacy. It was a gamble taken by two leaders who believe in their own ability to shape history. For the rest of the world, the summit's legacy will be found in its consequences. The echoes of the conversations held in Alaska will linger long after the leaders have gone home, shaping the answers to these critical questions and defining the global landscape for years to come. What do you think? Was this summit a serious step toward peace, or just a stage performance? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe for more deep analysis on world affairs.